Yiddish because we I welcome you all with love. And we're going to talk about something I mentioned a few days ago called telomeres. How many people know what a telomere is? Don't raise your hands all at once. So nobody knows what a telomere is? Seriously? Oh, you do. Okay. So that's a good beginning. This is out. And so let's start at the beginning. Telomeres are at the end of your chromosomes. They're like on a shoelace, the little cap on the end. They keep it from unraveling. But they're a little bit more important than shoelaces. Okay? People are born with telomeres that are a certain length. The longer the telomeres, the longer you live, and the healthier you are. Particularly in regard to chronic diseases. Diabetes, cancer, heart disease. Now, the thing with telomeres is, again, we're given different lengths. And women are born with longer telomeres in general. And that's why women generally live a little bit longer, a few years longer than men, because they actually have longer telomeres. And according to your genes and so forth, some people have shorter telomeres, certain people longer. The shorter the telomeres, the less healthy and the less long you live. So they're obviously pretty important. Now, they have, without going into too much detail, they have a very important function. Is that we have about 37 trillion cells, and every day we go through about 2 trillion cell divisions. So they're busy. And every time there's a cell division, the DNA divides, doubles itself, 2 cells. There's a certain amount of energy, there's a certain amount of oxidation, and the telomeres absorb that energy in order to maintain the integrity of the chromosomes. So their job is to kind of be part of the team, and they absorb the energy. Okay. When the telomeres get to a certain length, the chromosomes can't divide anymore, and the cells go into senescence, which means they die. That's basically the story. So that goes back to the longer your telomeres, the longer you live. Now, that's the background. And there's an enzyme that stimulates telomere length called telomerase. Okay? Makes sense. Now, the more telomerase you have, the more the telomeres are able to maintain their length. With age, the amount of telomerase decreases. So that's the setting. Now, the beauty is certain things greatly shorten the telomeres. Smoking, eating junk food, and in particular, eating processed meat. Okay, that's okay. Certain things lengthen the telomeres, which is, of course, what we want to have happen. There's a 5-year study that was done in the Bay Area, and what they found, those with men with prostate cancer, is that when they did yoga, when they did breathing exercises, when they did meditating, when they did exercising, about 20, 30 minutes a day, over a period of 5 years, and this is the good news, that was good to have good news, the telomeres increased in length 10%. Now that's good news. It's the total lifestyle we're talking about, right? Oh yes, and they ate a high preponderance of vegetables and fruits, and in this case, grains. Okay? But the message is clear. Now, in the same length of time, the controls decreased their telomeres by 3%. So a total then of a 13% difference. That's significant. Okay. So we really are seeing something very, very positive by the way we live. So what we teach here at the Tree of Life is exactly about lengthening your telomeres, although we wouldn't phrase it that way. The research makes it very clear that that's the story. And it's a pretty significant thing. Again, lead the 6 foundations and at the same time avoid junk food and particularly processed meat. It doesn't really say much about meat, but the focus is on lots of fruits and vegetables is the focus for the diet. Now, that presents us with I'm going to say, a pretty positive situation. Is that you can actually reverse your telomere length and actually make them longer by the lifestyle that we're talking about. That is of significance. Okay. Now, that being said, the real question is longevity for what? So if we just think about longevity as longevity, how many years you're going to live, that's very materialistic. And perhaps misses the point of life. So we ask longevity for what? Pretty important question. What are you doing with your life? So, how many people have ever heard of Tapasini Maharaj? Tapasini Maharaj. He lived to be 186. At 100, and his focus was enlightenment, which, from my framework, is the point of life. So at 100, he did a special process called Kaya Kalpa, where he lived underground for at least 3 months, and he did another time for a year. And basically, when he came out, he looked much younger, and it lengthened his life until he lived long enough to become enlightened. So he was right on the mark. He lived to be 186. I actually visited where he lived in India. So it was interesting. Now, once he became enlightened, then he stopped doing all the anti-aging processes because he had achieved the point of life. So that brings us back to at least my answer is, so what if we live longer? Why are we doing that? Longevity for what? And I think that's the key question for us to answer. What is our life goal? What is our purpose? What are we doing here? And although the telomere research is extremely important in the big picture, it's meaningless if we don't look at that. And we can see other immortality type things going on, but you don't hear them say immortality for what? Okay. And I think that's the key question. Is aligning with the purpose, the ultimate purpose of life, and living in a way that takes you to that. I call that Sanatana Dharma, the natural way of living that takes you to liberation. That our life is not separate from the purpose of life. A lot of people wait, and then it's too late. So by taking the attitude that our life in this moment is the purpose of life. That's why we're doing it. That's why we've been given this way of be given this life. That's why we've been incarnated. Well, then let's do something about it. And so the beauty of the telomere research is living this lifestyle. Again, I'm going to repeat: meditating, eating. I don't want to misquote the research, but eating basically vegan diet, breathing, exercising, all lengthen your telomeres and reverse the aging process. That's the beauty of really everything we're teaching. And then you ask for what? And to me, the purpose of this way of life is to bring us closer to the divine and help us become enlightened. So may everybody be blessed with connecting to this purpose, and may your telomeres increasingly. Amen. Aho. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Om